So we're going to start off with not some of your guys' art, which is hilarious because it's critique time, but Game Art was asking. So this is a screenshot from Fallout 4. It's asking how these materials, like, if I can break it down. Break it down, y'all. Let me get my Wacom, actually. We don't have too many tonight, so it should be good stuff. If you miss the time to turn your stuff in for critiques, go ahead and post it anyways. I might be able to get to it depending on how fast we get through this stuff. All right. Okay, so their materials, it's weird. I'm not sure if they're PBR based or not, but their materials, at least for this armor set, looks like it was with Didu. But honestly, this is really weird. So it looks like they dragged a material on, and then dragged on some edge damage, then dragged on maybe some subtle like rusting patterns that just kind of are tiled throughout. Maybe they manually painted these weld patterns in Didu. And then this like kind of chipped highlighted pattern, and then called it good. Like this texture job, I will not speak illy of any artist, but this texture job looks like you could do it in maybe like half an hour if you had all the normals and all that stuff. I mean, this pattern here actually looks like a stamp, like they stamped it on, which there's nothing wrong with. That's totally a way to do this stuff. Like these might be stamped on instead of modeled in. The straps look like they're one color, and then just a simple roughness value. Anywho, yeah, I'm reading chat as well, so. Okay, so first up, we got Curious Antics. This is looking pretty good. I'd be curious to see, Curious. I'm going to call it after this, I think. So you've got some nice variation happening up here now. You have really good gradients of, like in the baked lighting. The reflection here feels like it might be a bit strong. And the depth of the cracks, or how soft the normal is while still being deep in the normal map information itself, is making these planks feel really like, I don't know how you explain it, like clay, like soft deep cuts in this grain itself. The other thing I would say is the gaps between these being perfectly even feels really strange. Hyoli XX, thanks man. It's like, damn, you know your shit. I don't know about that. No problem, Game Art. So this edge here is really tight edged. Maybe thickening this a bit and then beveling that just in the mesh. You don't have to bake anything. And then give me a second. I need to change this music. It's killing me. It's killing me, guys. What games do you dev for? If you go to my Artstation, look at my... it looks like a little stick figure. That's funny. Artstation. Here you go. You can look through there. So I can keep going on this stuff. Poopy. Yeah. So these sandals, I think if you made the value of the blue a little lighter, these will pop out just a bit more. Let's see what else we got here. I would still think about taking this surface. Right now it's straight like that. Maybe adding a little bit of geo to kind of bend it inward. Oh no, not my Duke pile. Not the Duke pile. It's gonna be okay. Other than that, I mean, it's feeling pretty nice. It's feeling pretty nice. I think you could use some more roughness variation inside of the wood material itself here. I'm actually curious why this is smoother than this one. I would really like to see this smoothness with more roughness variation in it down here, because I like how smooth this wood material is. This looks more accurate to me. Yeah, some breakup, because right now the lines here are very even. If one of those pieces of wood was offset just a tad, a little bit, it would be pretty cool. This, in general though, this looks really good. It's coming a long way, which is nice. You should post the reference in chat if you can, for Christopher. For Chris Radsby. Alright, onward. Onward and forward. Onward twice. Onward 2x. So this is from Lightbulb. Still working on scaling. Just reinstalled Windows. Gotta download Maya Substance UE4 again. I'm like, what program is that? Maya Substance UE4. That sounds fancy. This looks pretty cool. Let's see what we can find. So we've got a combination of the height of this floor feels taller than this floor. And the main reason I'm feeling that is the height of this doorway to the wall, which I'm assuming is like that. So maybe here, that height and this height are really different. And there's some details that are starting to get lost here. Maybe you're taking some more liberties though. Like this window here is this window. So this sign should be up here. These windows don't exist because this overhang should be somewhere around here. And then doing this. Let's see what else we got here. Stair count. Like I don't know how close you're trying to get to this, but count the stairs, make sure that's all correct. The concept of this piece here is probably coming out about that far. So it's all I'm seeing are scale proportion issues currently that we just need to fix. Stylistically, it looks like you chose a rounded top door instead of a square one like this one. Let's see what else we got here. This brick pattern here for the corner stops before it gets to the mid part of this door. So maybe somewhere around here is where that should stop. And right now you have this whole piece here. So it goes all the way up. Again, you might be taking a lot of your own liberties. And in that case, then it's fine. The windows to the bottom of the door is very strange that the windows are this low. Like the window should probably be more up here. Usually all windows are the same height too, so maybe like this window needs to line up with these ones. So maybe this one needs to go down a bit more. Don't forget this piece of woodwork. So like you have these guys coming out. So you need to cross along here, and that'll give you the ability to do the cross beam here, this cross beam, and then this action going on. Let's see here. Yeah, just check the proportions on stuff. Like there's a beam to the right or to the left of this door, a beam here and a beam here, and then a window. And you have 1, 2, and then there needs to be one here. Or hang on here. So beam here, we're switching colors. A beam here, oh, that's not a good color. So beam here, a beam here. Sorry, right here. Close to the door. You see this one's close to the door. And then there's one right before the window. So there's one here, and then the window is much wider, it looks like. And then you get your barrels. Yeah, the concept art is very strange in proportions, so it's totally understandable that all this stuff is all kind of crazy. What else we got here? The stonework around this door frame, like right now yours is sticking out pretty far. I bet you have to bring it inward halfway of what it is currently. So like if this is if this is the top view, whoa, can you even see that? Hang on here. Nope, you can't. Cool, hang on. So if this is this doorway, like that depth right there, probably just need to half that by bringing it inward. Another thing to notice too is so see how this is flat and this is flat, this is level now. This part, it stops going up here, and yours stops going up at the stair. So this probably needs to go up to here and then go out and then around. But yeah, it's just a lot of proportion stuff. You just have to be looking at the proportion stuff. The fence stuff up on the second floor, the balcony fencing, is a bit thick right now as well. I think if you scale that back, you're gonna get some of your scale back because of that, just in the overall image. And then I would just keep going after you've adjusted all that stuff. Yeah, Chris is pretty on with that one. Felipe, I made an old radio. Old radio looks pretty sick, man. Game ready model, 5,767 tries. Pretty high poly, but I mean, if it's a first person. It's a first-person game, and you're grabbing and interacting with it. This could be good. Let's see here. Yeah, see, be careful with these lines here. They're aliasing pretty heavily once you get back here. With the temporal AA, you might not notice that. Oh, I love the roughness range you got going on the wood material. Yeah, that's the sexy. The normals on this feel a bit strong. Your end had a similar radio? Dude, that's awesome. Dude, this thing's old school. Like, I actually feel like I can spin these dials, which is kind of crazy. The edges feel a bit tight on this. Like, maybe baking a normal or making these edges soft. We'll give you a... Unless, I don't know, unless you're going for that metallic edge. I've seen some stuff have that. This looks cool, though. Very good. Very, very good. The resolution of the textures is kind of low considering the resolution of everything else. I'd actually think about mapping that to its own texture sheet and making it higher res. I don't know, for a first-person game, you might only get this close, and in which case it might be okay. But yeah, careful with the aliasing on the smaller details. Made in Western Germany. Jubilee Export. Super cool. Let's see if we can... Yeah, these renders look really nice of it. Nom 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 nom. What are we looking at now? Yes. This thing looks nice, man. This thing looks hella nice. So this is Skiz. Chris Lincoln stuff. What are we looking at here? Oh, Jesus. Ain't no thing, just made an entire, like, city. Oh my god. Whoa, what is that? So, okay, so I had some things I wanted to point out on this. Chris linking better videos. Jeez, man. So, the wood material looks pretty good. I would expect maybe a little bit more variation in the roughness, and then that would probably be set. The glass that's covering the compass here, I'm imagining you're probably making a roughness on it pretty wide, that way that you can see the glass on it. I would see if you could get some refraction. Yeah, that fly through is super janky in the first video. It's like, oh. Yeah, I would look at maybe doing some refraction with the glass and tightening up the highlight on that. What else we got going on here? I think maybe pushing the gold a little bit more, a golder or a more metal material on here, and then maybe like a metal edge in here and here, just to match this kind of metal pattern you got going on here. It looks like there is a metal edge there. It's just really thin. In general, though, this looks super nice. Some of the other things that I would poke at maybe are, let's see here. It feels like there's a seam here for the texture, for the map, and everything pattern-wise seems to be pinching as it goes up to the top. So like there's like little details that are narrower here but wider here. If the seam is there, I would probably just rotate the sphere until the seam is under this metal rim. It's just gonna be easier to hide it. No, that's exactly what you're doing with the glass. That's so funny. Yeah, what's the geo count on this guy? What are we looking at poly count wise? Seam is in the back. You're good then, I think. Yeah, had a globe like that when I was a kid, and it had a visible seam. The thing is things look weird in real life, but you accept it because you know it's reality. 12K? Damn, son. You accept it because you know it's there in reality. Like when you see like how tiles are actually on the ground and how they meet buildings and terminate and stuff. Oh my god. They're just like cutting tiles just to make like a little square so that it can fit, so that the pattern can continue. You do that in a game and they're going to be like, dude, does this guy even know how to UV? What is this? What does this guy even do? Does he even do his job? Jeez. Yeah, you get 3D, it gets really weird. I guess the only other thing I would say is maybe a dust layer on the wood to try and get like some light buildup on the nooks and crannies of the wood itself. That'd probably go a long way for making sure that everything looks like it's interacting or touching or is close together. Overall, though, it's pretty nice. I like this asset. It looks cool. Makes me want to own one. Own a globe. Alright, what is this guy? Alex Bellato? Is it Bellato? Making starting to learn the good old Substance Designer. It's my first material I did during my studies and studies of Substance Designer. So pattern, large, medium shapes. Then you separate off some of the noise that you use for your large, medium shapes to make your grout. Looks like the grout gets combined with small shapes and cracks. Then those go out to your color and your normal. Oh, interesting. Your height map is not contributing the information from the grout. The other thing that I'm noticing is you're not using the what is it, the height map blending node. Yeah, the wood material actually might be too dark, or it's close to too dark. You're super noob at Substance Designer? Dude, so I made my first Substance, and I really sat there and worked at it forever. And I got happy enough with it that I put it online for you guys. But I'm still really noob to it. Dude, you learn so much in the first like 5 substances that you do. Man, it's crazy. So this node, height blend. So I'm using, so I've got this stone. And then I've got my stuff that's between the stones, right? And I'm blending between them using this node called a height blend, which does magical things for you. Like if I drag this up here, just do this. So if you look closely, so you've got your stones, right? Using this height blend node, I'm gonna lower the resolution of this as well. It's gonna look shittier. We'll deal with it. So using this height blend node, you can height offset blending between these two height maps. So like you can see, I can push the stones down. You see how they're like shifting? So you can keep pushing it down. And as you push this height down, like you're getting, the grout starts to come through. Dude, it's so helpful. The other thing is oh man, god damn it. Why? Did I just crash it? Hang on here. Yeah, it's like layer Z depth offset in ZBrush stubs. It's super nice, man. I'll show you some other benefits to it as well. This is good. I'm getting, because we don't have as many things to critique, I'm getting the time to break down some of the stuff a little more. So when you scroll in here, so you're looking at this height blend. The other thing to note is these inputs and outputs. You can double click on these to see what is going into them, which is really handy. And I didn't know that until I don't know, a couple weeks ago. So then you double click the node, then you see the result. The outputs as well. So here's the blended height, which is the final result here. But one of the other really nice things about this height blend is the height mask. So the height mask is actually separating out what you're seeing as a result of the two blending together. And this makes for really good material separation when you start doing albedo creation. So you can see I'm using it up here where I have the stone and the grout. And then this is the stuff I want to put in the grout. You're gonna need that coffee tomorrow. Oh shit, son. And then I'm using the mask. So this mask is actually blending these two together. The nice thing about this node, where are we at here? This height blend. Nope, that's not the one. Shit, I'm lost. Here we go. This height blend that's happening, there is a contrast slider, and you can contrast the difference between the two materials. So if it's like a sandy or a dusty material, you can soften that transition. So you can see how much softer some of the info is. And look what it does to some of the mud too. Like if I make this really sharp, the transition is very clean. But as I soften this, you start to get crevices between the two materials. So you can start to get a little bit of like a caking feel to the material, where it's like kind of, yeah, it's awesome. Anyways, that node's really good, super useful. And while we're here, I'll tell you to download this node. It's called the randomized mask node. You can find it on Artstation. Just search randomized mask. Should show up. Some guy made it. It's great. You input a black and white like this, and the node sees these as separate islands and then applies random color grayscale values to them, which allows you to do quite a lot of stuff. Caking. Oh, caking. Anywho, onward. So I guess what I would say about this is you need to concentrate on getting more depth out of the material and be careful with the amount of noise that you're getting here. These lines here are traveling across multiple stones, which I guess is okay if it's an actual scratch. But if it's a pattern that you don't want to like have between multiple stones, like if this circle pattern just does this, it's going to break the illusion that they're actually separate stones that were placed individually from different parts of stone or brick. And how you break those apart is you use a node called a what is it, a distance, I forget the name of it. I just closed Substance 2. I'm gonna look it up. I'm looking it up. Screw it. It's a directional something. My brain. Directional warp. So that's why you would want this type of mask. Is basically black to white changes the rate at which the warp occurs. So here's the detail that I'm using, right? And then I'm warping it by a certain amount. So I'm warping it by 100% or 100. So you can see as I start to warp this, it offsets those values at different speeds based off the grayscale value. So that way you break up all of your patterns. Super handy. I'm going to leave this open just in case. The only other thing I would say is I think looking at brick really closely and seeing how it chips and how much depth and how stuff separates between the grout to the brick will tell you a lot. Can you get funny results with certain angles? Oh, no, I don't think that'll matter. Like, so like, if I guess it's good to change it to like a 45 degree based on like what type of pattern you're inputting, because at certain points it'll start to it'll create other patterns which get really repetitive, so you have to be careful with that. But I mean, it's not too bad. So it's not funny patterns, it's looking out for more patterns that cause visual tiling. Where are we at here? But yeah, just keep that stuff in mind as you do the stuff. Do the substance designer stuff. If you go here, does this work? Yes, it does. Go to that Gumroad. You can download that material that I was just showing you. I gave like a giant screenshot of the node so you can see how it's all set up. And it is free. Enjoy it. Okay, this one has a lot of pictures, so we're gonna pick and choose some of these shots to kind of give some breakdown. Let's see here. So this one's a good one. This is a good shot just because of composition. And then it just needs some adjustment on lighting. And then this one's a good one because it has direction. Like you're like, oh, I'm going that way. So let's look at this one first. And yeah, we'll look at this one first. Yeah, Ben Wilson also has some really nice stuff. Totally link that in chat if you can. Okay, so we're looking at this image. You've got sun behind here, kind of hitting here, but it's pretty light. You really need to get sun in here. I know you want these lights to be pretty bright, and they're actually like I can't tell where the light source is, even though I know they're supposed to be right there. Oh man. So these should be brighter, probably making this much brighter, and you should see that probably on the ground as well. I would actually suggest bringing in the light from over here so that you get, look, I'm painting with light. So you get edge highlighting on all these materials. You'll get highlights on this, highlights on this. Everything will start to visually separate itself. Thanks, Chris. Dude, Lewis, Ben's Gumroad stuff is super, super nice. You'll get really nice lighting on these materials, which will really show off the normals. You'll get the contrast of like this side of the image being lit, and then this stuff casting interesting shadows down here, which breaks up the path from being just straight like this. You'll get really good shadows from behind the gravestones, because you can hardly tell that there's gravestones there. And I don't even know if they go on and on into the distance, but it would be really cool to see that. The only other thing that I would say with this shot is that these stones are like, you have a pattern. And all you need to do to fix that is probably rotate. All right, later, Chris. I'll see you tomorrow. Do Tam-Nak tomorrow. It's going to be good. Take the cobblestone and rotate it by like 5-10 degrees. And then that pattern will terminate like this. Maybe it needs to be even more. And then you should be able to lose that pattern. Yeah, are you talking about breaking up the repetition with this stuff? I think it's just a matter of you're using a very similar shape. The terrain in the back here is very strangely organic as well. I think if you can get used to World Machine and generate something that's more properly eroded, it's going to help a lot. But I think quick fix, since you're showing this to people tomorrow, is just try moving the light over here and see what cool shadows you get from these rocks, and then see what cool shadows you get from everything on this side. It should make the image much clearer to look at as well. Because right now everything is in shadow, right? Everything is kind of suffering from that same problem. You can see, like, up here, there's so much more information, so much more stuff like shadow casting from trees and seeing the sides of rocks. Like, you're getting so much more definition out of it. I would bring the sun even higher so that you get shadows on the buildings, so that the sides of buildings are darker. It's so much more dynamic when you start getting shadows. And don't be afraid to push your ambient occlusion to get everything matching up nicely. Be careful, if you get some time, be careful on these edges. I would suggest maybe, what do you call it? Adding some extra cards, or even removing some of the grass blades from the alpha, just so that there's less blades together, because then it mips out and turns into a solid piece of grass. And then just add more geometry. Don't worry about going crazy with this. You're not trying to make it super real time, right? You're just trying to make it look good. Unless you need to show it in real time, running around and stuff. Then it's just a matter of making sure the frame rate's okay. The frame rate's like 50, 40 to 60, then if your frame rate's 40 to 60, then you're good. Thing is, it's supposed to be more of a shadowed valley. So if that's the case, then you really need to push your ambient occlusion. If you want to go for that shadowed valley look, then I want, like, this stuff to get inside of here, inside the rocks, and like how dark it is here, starting to get darkness in these crevices. That way there's just, because right now it's all very similar in shade. Like, let me see if I can just, it's 9:45. Okay, we're doing good on time. Let me see if I can fake this. This is what we'll do. I'm going to fake that these are rock shadows. Oops, shit. I'll just erase some of that stuff in a little bit here. Oh man, already, like, oh. We'll just fake these shadows. Just looking, it's 11:45, sorry. I'm thinking time is like fucked up in my mind right now. I'm super tired. Let's see what else we can do here. Yeah, when these details pop out, dude, it's so much more dynamic. Like, look how much more you can see where you're heading and, like, understanding the space. Let me see if I can... do that. Whoops. Invert. shadows. The shadows are so shittily doodled as well. Yeah. This is really roughly airbrushed looking, but I think it'll get the point across. Like, see how much more? Man, that's so bad. I'm sorry, I ruined everything. So, I mean, just make your light movable and you should have shadows like that. Should be alright. But yeah, that, see how much easier it is to read it and how much easier it is to understand how to navigate through the space. And then you get to enjoy the gravestones that you made. So, yeah. Anyway, I'll move on now. This stuff's cool though. I really like the scene. It's just a matter of tuning those I guess directional lighting. So this looks sick. It's a Tommy gun. A PPSH-41. Working on the high poly at the moment. Not even close to being done. A 41. No, thank you for sharing that, Rizzler. So I mean, this looks pretty good. I think the softness that you have on your bevels is really good. There's the bevels here and the bevels there are a little tight, a little bit here as well. Everything else looks to be within order, maybe a little tight there. Maybe not tight enough here. Yeah. This is looking good. Maybe there needs to be a defining sharp edge on the wood as far as how it's shaped. But I would have to look at some reference to know that one. In general, though, it's looking nice. Wireframe is pretty tight as well. That's interesting. I don't know what this is. This edge here must be on the other side only. Yeah, just look at your bevel amounts. Make sure that the edges in the wood are sharp where they need to be, or tighter. You don't like that, Stubbles? It's the PP41. Anyways, sorry. It's a crease. Oh, okay, so it's just on the other side. Okay. In general, it's looking really good, though. Just, yeah. Double check all those edges. This looks really nice. Really nice. I like the attention to detail. The way that these are attached and how there's some tension here is really good. The outside breakup on this edge here and this one might be a little... So when that breakup happens, as it goes down, it's very strange to see it come back out and then go back in. And then make sure you're not getting any random floating pieces in your alpha. You just paint those out as they go. The only other thing I would say is make sure that these tears might be better longer. And especially down here, maybe this tear like actually splits so that you have two individual flaps for the bottom of this one. And because of the way that the fabric tends to bunch up at the top, it's more difficult for a tear to occur up high. Usually starts down here and then works its way up. That's why you get tattered ones that look like this, where they're just a bunch of little fingers. I'm getting to the sleepy sound effect stage. Okay, so I remember reading this one. Need advice on how to make this really overgrown, untouched for a long time. So first things first, the key word is overgrown, right? Or untouched. I would first bevel the edges of these so they're not so hard edged, and then start breaking up the road a little bit. Whoops. Just maybe some cracks here and there. Paint probably should be super, super worn down. Explain a story to this. Maybe this light pole here, or this, what is that? No, the telephone pole. Maybe have that one bent this way, and this fence all like bent down this way and stuff, so you can understand where they came from. That'll also give a route for the grass to like start bleeding its way in from outside of the road. Because then it's all just about grass and stuff starting to, like, the glass should be broken on these. Bird poop. All the bird poop. But yeah, grass will really help you, like a shape that's something like, let's see here. Grass patterns like that could be interesting. Maybe some cracks and then some grass coming out of that. It's all about overgrowth. All of the stuff growing into the space to take it all over again. The takeover is real. And then I would probably tighten up the edges on the rust and again break the glass and such. And it's really interesting that the tires are gone. I would, if you want it to feel like it's been there for a long time, leave the tires on there but pop them so it's just deflated and those tires are just like carcasses of what was left of the tire from long ago. The rubber is just cracking and tearing away and it's kind of all over the place. You get the wheel well and all that stuff is just kind of resting on the ground. Delicious. Oh yeah, Ilya. It's time to get to your sand. So this looks super, super nice, man. There's a transition that's occurring here that I guess it's because the albedos of this and this match so nicely together that you're not actually seeing the hard edge like you are here. So there's a really nice blend between the materials, which is a reason why this type of albedos, or this type of albedos, these materials all coalescing together in a very similar range helps sell everything together. You're getting some maybe like, I don't know where the lighting is coming from right now. It's like back here and it's coming towards the camera. Maybe. Because there's this shadow here, which I guess is from this pillar. You're getting some weird roughness lighting here. So like light bleed. This sand piece was made by Ilya Ivanov? Is it Ilya Ivanov? Looks really nice though. And because you have the deep cracks with the stone from prior, it's either this is coming from, like, this is all part of the same mesh, or you're using the same material between them, and that interaction, that visual interaction, is allowing you to get that illusion. I guess the only other thing I would say is maybe like if you want the transition to be smoother, you could do like a depth fade, where as the sand mesh meets other mesh, it starts to alpha out. And then you can feed a height map into it so that it tears away the way that mine does in my scene currently. So you get some like break up little dirt specks and sand and stuff in a much more organic. I don't think you need to though. Just watch out for these harder edged areas. Material looks really nice as well. Nicely done so far. Nicely done so far. Wow, look at this guy. So there's a brush that was shared in our Discord earlier that was pretty cool sounding. It's a brush for making, it's a ZBrush brush for making dripping or melting candles. And this got made, you scroll through some of these, by Judd. Probably going to stop here. I changed to square alpha. Rest of the details came from the substance. But I'll allow it. It's a pretty cool brush. Let me find the link to it. There it is. But yeah, it's really cool. I would, I'm sure you were just using this for experiments, I'm not sure. But definitely look at some reference for how these type of shapes form. So usually it starts all from the top and just kind of drips its way down. And then it builds up from the center up. But I think you know that. Super fun. Looks cool. Juan the Mexican. Okay, last one. Since it's 12 o'clock and I need to sleep. This is really cool. Apparently Juan is working on the style for the game that he's building. He doesn't expand on it too much, but this is what it looks like visually. The look. Oh man, Rizzler already with the lighting shift. Alright, I'll look at it after this. So, this style, super cool. I look forward to seeing more of this. Dealing with this edge here, it looks like you've done something here to work with that. Grounding this light and maybe putting some type of cap there, and then solving this window. Other than that, I really like the look and feel of this. There's maybe a little bit of light bleed happening here. I don't know what type of game this is, but I like the look, the style. It's cool. Super, super cool. Liptus, you should be done with the high poly by next stream. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Alright. Check it out. Like the fastest feedback you've ever seen. Look how interesting it is. Oh man, it's cool. Next thing I would do is probably get some distance fog or depth, like atmosphere, so you can feel that stuff is going back in space. But this, oh yeah, this looks good. Better feedback than my dumbass teacher. Don't call your teachers dumb, man. Yeah, looking nice. Looking nice. Look at your grass looks better too when it's being lit. Interesting. Don't go to Full Sail, dude. Don't go to the Art Institute. Anywho. Sorry, I was packing my rucksack. It's my American Eyes. What's a rucksack? No, I'm just kidding. Anyways. Oh man, that's brutal. Well, hopefully you can learn some stuff later on this stream. This looks super nice though. Super, super nice. Stubbles. College. Yeah, Stubbles knows. We all know. The struggle is real. Dude, our generation got so like bum rushed. It wasn't even funny, man. Anywho, this looks dope. I look forward to more. I'm gonna get out of here, guys. It is midnight. So, if you want your teachers, I'll just say it. If you feel like your teachers are in the wrong, you should show them my channel, and or you should get them in contact with me, and I will help sort them out. Not that they're doing anything wrong, they just need to be updated, right? They just need the information. Let's do that for them so that they can be better teachers to help others become better artists. Bam. I will leave you with that. All right, guys. Cheers.